What trends do you see ahead in the field of microfinance? What are your hopes for what the field can achieve in the coming decades?
You know, I think that there is a lot at stake right now in microfinance. The Microlumbia conference that I participated in March kind of had it all there. There is a trend in the microfinance industry of what I call hyper-commercialization, you know, of demonstrating that we can make more profits than mainstream commercial banks. And I do believe that that's a problem. You know, I think it's got to be sustainable, it's got to be profitable. But if Compartamos is twice as profitable as commercial banks, and it was 18 times oversubscribed because they charged over 100% interest on poor people, you know, that to me is not the model for the future. But that, if you look at the excitement of Wall Street, you know, those are the stories that they love. Now, the good news is that I have just learned that all of the staffing up that the investment banks have done around microfinance to find these deals has disappeared with the tightening up of Wall Street and the recession that we're in. So this is kind of the vogue, but it's the first to go. And I hope that what that will mean is that there is more attention on how do we build domestic capital markets? How do we encourage these microfinance institutions to really engage in savings? Because as Bank Rakyat Indonesia or Sewa Bank or the African microfinance cooperatives show, if you mobilize savings that is responsive to the poor, you will mobilize 3 times as much savings as you have in your lending portfolio. And that is local and that is stable. Likewise, domestic bond issues, local equity. You know, so I think that that is key. The other big trend is, or question is, will the industry respond to the call for multi-product offerings? You know, there is still a tendency, especially of the larger microfinance institutions. They have gotten very good at dispensing loans. And so it's hard to integrate new products, and it's even harder to make the client the focus. You know, if you take multi-product offerings to their end, that means you focus on the customer and build the systems that allow you to respond to what her needs are at her particular life cycle stage or size of her business, et cetera. So it's very different than providing standard $100 and then $200 loans. And so what I'm seeing is that organizations such as ICICI, now Icici Foundation, have gotten so fed up with the microfinance institutions that it has supported with billions of dollars that they're actually creating their own microfinance all-India institution, which will use kiosks as the point of interface, will provide 11 products from the get-go, and will operate a very lean, modern structure to essentially show the MFIs how to provide multi-product offerings and combine technology and touch to be able to do it in a cost-effective way. So I think there's a big risk now of moving the focus away from women's empowerment. You know, in the network of Women's World Banking, I've always felt that there's a trade-off between, if you want to reach 100 million people, not all of the women are going to feel empowered in that system. But it's very important to have as the heart and soul, the core, organizations that are fully invested in the full mission, so that having an AutoPEM that becomes an AutoPEM bank that is is the 5th bank now in the Dominican Republic, but it outperforms them on most indicators without having moved away from poor women, and is teaching much bigger banks throughout the world on how to do remittance products that convert into housing loans that serve the needs of poor women. Those organizations are very important to keep the industry focused on the reason that we got into microfinance to begin with. So that's one trend. And then the other big trend is what I'm doing, the whole beyond microfinance. You know, it's not about little training programs and, you know, having an MFI do a little bit other. It has to be other structures that have core competency in things like marketing and connecting a new set of dots. So what I'm finding is that money is homogenous, so it's very easy to build and share know-how in microfinance. And when I entered Enterprise Solutions to Poverty, I said, where's the homogeneity between Avon ladies and agribusiness and health, you know, healthcare businesses? And it really is about distribution systems. Whether you're sourcing from millions of farmers or selling through millions of women or providing services to millions of customers that add income and assets, it's really about distribution systems. So, you know, one of the only multinationals that has figured this out as a huge next thing is IBM, which is, you know, is very important because most multinationals still skate at the surface of these economies and try to sell to the top 20%. And then they kind of say, well, maybe we should do something different, but don't know what to do. But IBM, you know, if this thing is about distribution systems where information and communication technology have got to be key, then those kinds of companies can actually be very instrumental in making it happen for hundreds of millions of poor people.